There's things that you got to do to get the dog to understand the idea and the concept, and you can't just do that like by taking him for a walk and crossing our fingers and hoping that it clicks. I think you can do that. I just think it's the success of it's not as good, and there's a much greater chance of frustration because of lack of results. So we'll talk about the memory type stuff, the idea of setting it up to be kind of like shed hunting, but not, but like training wheels type stuff that they got to get so good at that becomes second nature. But in order to do that, you cannot do it without foundation. Cannot do it, because I shouldn't say that. You can do it, you just won't get anywhere, because you can't set a drill up if you can't set up an advanced drill if you can't do the basic stuff, parts of it, because the basic parts should not be part of the advanced drill. Like to do a circle memory, you shouldn't have issues with heel, because if you're worried about trying to get good heel work, how do your dog expect to be able to focus on remembering where dummies were dropped, and then remember that they should go get it and pick it up and bring it back, and all of those parts and components of that have to be in place. And like to put the frosting on the cake, if you don't have a cake, what are you gonna do with the frosting? You know. So the more advanced stuff is what you need in order to make it click for the real life stuff, the real hunting, whether it's sheds or birds or whatever it is. So, and so you have to boil it all down and get really good so that you're not worrying about those. So we'll find out where it is.
Hey, Jimmy, one thought, you talked about scent. Lonnie's retrieved one shed last year. This year I haven't had any, but she's retrieved so many knee bones.
Sure. An
entire hip with the skeleton attached. I couldn't believe she retrieved that.
Yeah. Well, she's doing her best. She's going, I'm getting, put me where there's a shed, she's saying. Now, you know, and so that's going to be one of the good things. So we're going to shed hunt the farm. Like, we're going to get in the field. That's the other part that's fun about this. And we shed hunted a part of the farm. I would say we walked probably 50% of it, of the good stuff. So 50% is not. Now that took us 2 days to do it. To me, there's way more fun for me to shed hunt a farm that we know than I used to do a lot of trips. I used to go and do a lot of shed hunting trips, and they were fun. But I'm getting old, and I like figuring deer out. And so to me, the farm, the benefit for us is like we gain something from it deer hunting wise. Not with every antler, because some of them I don't know that I'll ever be able to match up or pair up or understand what deer it is, little ones. But some of these bigger ones, we get a lot of information off of it. So you're gonna have 20, 24, 25 sheds or however many we found in that half day. That's a lot. Like, who found 25 sheds this year? How many did you find? 46.
And got a problem because they got a lot of poachers footprints.
So how many acres?
1,000.
So you've got really good shed ground. You've got the opportunity to develop a dog. On that, you can develop a dog. How many did you find in Missouri?
We found 8 this year.
Okay. 8 is who found more than 8? So 8's the second highest in the group. You know, and you think about that. So let me tell you, like, that's probably across the board with shed hunters. Like, not every shed hunter finds lots and lots of sheds. Most don't. We talked to a girl last night when we were doing that Zoom thing, and they found 14 sheds, and their dog had picked up one before they had seen it, so they knew the dog. They could credit the dog with that find, and she was very disappointed with that. And I said, hey, you know how many more sheds your dog's found than other people this year? And so then we like put it into perspective, and one of the girls had a kid that does taekwondo and broke a board. She's 8 years old, and so we started talking about that, and I'm like, well, it's kind of a big deal for like that girl to build up that inner whatever to break the board, and you know the instructor had to like train her for it, all this stuff, and then she broke a board. And I said, and the reality of it is like it was just probably a really little board. It wasn't like it was 10 of them that some big macho taekwondo guy broke. That's real impressive. It was like it was probably not that incredible of a feat that this little girl did by breaking this one small board. But when she did, what was your reaction and response? What was her reaction and response? What was, like, it was a giant deal. It wasn't just a little deal. It was a giant deal. It was the exact same board. Whether you look at it and go, oh, it was just a little board, or you go, it was a little board for an 8-year-old girl to have the confidence to do. It was the exact same feat that took place, but it was how did you see it? And then I said, so now look at your dog. The dog was, I think, was that dog 2? 2 and didn't shed hunt last year, so it was this dog's first year shed hunting. Found only 1 out of 14. And I went, but if you looked at it and said, found 1 in its first year, you'd be like the mom who had the 8-year-old that broke the board. And you'd be like, that was really good. And then when you think about it and you look at it and you go, only 14 chances. Like, that's not very many. And I asked her, I said, you know, when you trained, did your dog find everything when training and like learn everything and do it perfectly the first 1 or 2 sessions? She's like, oh God, no, it took a long time for us to get stuff figured out. And I said, if your attitude was the same in training as it was in hunting, you'd have quit a long time ago. Because it took a long time to, but it, you know, but it did, it got it, and it made progress. And you were real patient with it, understanding that it was a really young puppy and it needed time to develop. Well, I got news for you. It's a 2-year-old dog that's never shed hunted before and only had 14 opportunities in its life to do it right. And it did it right once. That's a really big accomplishment. And so by the end of the conversation, I think her attitude changed to say, wow, we really actually got something, we achieved something pretty big this spring. That's something to build off of. Well, that's all the difference in the world, attitude-wise. So, we got to keep things in perspective when it comes to the dogs, I think.